Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. Muslims are now observing the holy month of Ramadan, but this doesn't look like any Ramadan in recent memory. Nightly prayers at the mosque are out. So is breaking the fast in the evening with friends. And on Eid, there may be no large congregational prayers to celebrate the month's end. It's a real challenge. And joining us today to talk about how they're doing is Malik Sims. He's the Director of Operations for the Islamic Foundation of Greater St. Louis. He's also a paralegal. Malik, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Actually, it's Donnell Malik Sims, and I am a taskmaster for the Islamic Foundation of Greater St. Louis under the Social Services under Adele Imdad.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And we're also joined today by Dr. Mahrukh Khan. She's a family medicine physician here in St. Louis. Dr. Khan, welcome to the show.
Salam alaikum. Salam means peace. May you all be enveloped in peace and be protected from all illnesses, especially the COVID that we're talking about.
That is a great blessing, both for me and for all of our listeners. So thank you for that. Dr. Khan, I want to start with you. With the coronavirus pandemic shifting everything so quickly, some Muslims in the community have told us that Ramadan kind of snuck up on them this year. Do you feel like the pandemic dampened the spirits of Muslims who normally would be so excited about this month beginning?
Of course, because, Ramadan is a month it's one of the 5 pillars of our faith. And it's one of the most important time to socialize and interact with other the members of the community. And our children actually were already talking about it. What about the nightly prayers? Because that's something that all of us as a family look forward to. When we do our iftar, the breaking of the fast, we eat meal together, and then the children in the Islamic Center will they also socialize, interact after an hour. Then they have the nightly prayers where in 30 days we usually have a young Hafiz who was memorized the Quran, 600 pages. They usually go over the whole Quran in 30 days. So it's really an enlightening time, very positive energy moment. You just feel so energized at the end of every Tarawih. So that's one thing that we're all missing. But as a Muslim, we also, and as actually, we are supposed to accept the fact that whatever is happening is from our Creator, and we're supposed to. There is a hikmah or wisdom. And when we reflect along those lines, we as physicians, my husband and I are both physicians, most of the professionals, almost everyone, because of the social distancing and the limited work hours, have been spending more family time. And that's something that we had lost over the past couple of years, working so hard, not realizing what it is like to be actually with our own family members.
Malik, are you seeing that with your family as well, that people, for all the hardship that's part of this pandemic, that people are spending more time with their family and seeing that maybe that's a good thing?
Yes, indeed, it is a good thing. And I would like to state that Dr. Khan is absolutely correct in her observation, but I'm also seeing throughout the pandemic the real spirit of generosity and giving being expanded upon, and that Muslims have been activated all around the country to get into the fight against the pandemic and really attempt to save lives. And of course, the Quran states to save one life is so saving the entirety of mankind, and in taking one, it is the equivalent of taking the life of whole of mankind. So I'm seeing Muslims actually, get in the fight and hold to the spirit.
Well, that's great to hear. And I understand that even though people can't gather together and have these evening meals and these large gatherings, people are still finding a way to connect with each other. We heard from Umar Lee on Twitter, and he said he really misses these large iftar meals at local mosques, misses not having the evening prayers. But he adds, one thing we've been doing is giving out meals in North City and county parking lots for local Muslims. And Malik, I understand the mosque you attend is still preparing meals. They're just passing them out to people on site. How does that work?
Well, the mosque that is doing that, it's called Masjid Bilal, and it is located on St. Louis U campus, and it is the first mosque established in St. Louis, Missouri. It is the eldest mosque. And so we prepare the meals, and of course they're in containers, styrofoam containers, and the cars pull up, and we take the meals out to the cars, and then that person leaves, and another, of course, is provided a meal. And it's been going on since the beginning of Ramadan, and so, yes, absolutely.
So that's almost a drive-through kind of iftar situation?
That is correct.
We also heard from Tanina Saputo on Facebook. She writes that she misses not being able to spend it with the people I would normally spend it with. Loneliness for reals. And I've been making the weakest of iftar meals. Now, generally during Ramadan, people don't have to make meals every night. They can go to friends, family, or the mosque to get food. Dr. Khan, for you, has it been overwhelming to try to plan that right meal every night?
Actually, it has. We usually have my daughters. I have two daughters and the son and the family. They usually make the meal by the time I come home. So
that's great.
This way, there has actually, they're getting more help from their parents. So it has, yes, we've had more time to actually go and plan the meal from my perspective. And also the friends, some of our friends, what we've also done is prepare a meal or a dish and drop it off, kind of like sort of like a drive-through, but drop off or you can come and pick up the food prepared.
Oh,
Some
that's
of my,
great.
Children's friends, yeah.
So a way to share food even if you can't eat it together.
And also giving it to, I'm a medical director at one of the nursing homes, and we would take it to the nuns and priests and take as a Ramadan iftar food, and they enjoy that. So we will sometimes make a biryani and rice and chicken and dessert and dates and take it over and drop it off, and then they can enjoy it. And so they remember Ramadan as different flavors of food. And also we have in the neighborhood, usually we'll share desserts. Someone will take turn and make a dessert. One person will make bread. Another person will make like a curry, and then share a portion of that.
So you're still doing it potluck style. That's great to hear.
Yes.
So many of us have moved our social interactions to web calls. Zoom seems to be really popular for that. Our families that are distant using that to get together rather than being there at the mosque. Malik, has that been the case for people you know?
Yes, absolutely, it has been. Of course, we have to adhere strenuously to social distancing, et cetera. And so Zoom has been a way of joining us.
Now, we also heard on Instagram from our listener, Tamara, and she stated that she started decorating custom digital holiday cards to send to friends and family. She uses an app on her phone called Ink Cards, which offers Ramadan and Eid cards this year. Is that part of the Muslim tradition, that people send cards the way Christians send, say, a Christmas card in December? Dr. Khan, is that something new?
Yes, we have actually Eid cards. I grew up and I what I do, I design it myself, and I still keep the tradition of mailing. So we encourage our children and our friends to share cards. But Eid cards are throughout the rest of the world. You'll see that usually even during Christmas time, we'll send them our Christian friends Christmas cards. Eid cards will usually have handmade and embroidered, sometimes even on fabric cards.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just something that then you can use again, because if there is no date on it, you can kind of like Christmas decorations, you can reuse them. So cards. So it's more like a recyclable concept too.
That sounds so cool, and certainly more elaborate than just buying a box of Christmas cards at the drugstore. You're going all out with these Eid cards.
And also, we also among our friends, we've done what is charitable. So during Ramadan, we're supposed to have, if we miss a fast, we're supposed to have feed at least 60 individuals. That's called a kafara terminology. Or if a person is ill and is not able to do the fasting, we're supposed to feed 2 persons for two meals of a person per day. So, for example, I have elderly parents and they're not able to fast. My father has a brain tumor. My mother has diabetes. So they're excused from fasting, but whatever income they have, or if they don't have, I, as their child, will take care of feeding the less fortunate. And that's what the Islamic Center. We have 4 Bosnian mosques in the area, and then Islamic Center, Masjid Bilal, multiple small masajid in St. Louis, and they're all in the spirit of Ramadan, giving, sharing. This year specifically, instead of buying new clothes for Eid, what we're trying to do is share food items, sanitizing items with the less fortunate, share more of, I also, instead of, in the past, I would give cookies, make candies or cookies, but I decided that a lot of individuals, they may need the money, so I would just put it in a little Eid card, handmade Eid card, and put it and share it. And, it's the amount doesn't matter, it's the gesture. Mm-hmm. And if you do it with the ikhlas, with the pure heart, that's what God wants us to during the month of fasting, is to do acts of kindness, tiny little acts of kindness.
Well, in addition to those tiny acts, I understand that you guys have both been part of a much bigger act. This is a coronavirus-related idea. Malik, I understand you initially pitched this to the Islamic Foundation of Greater St. Louis. It involves a mobile testing site. Tell us about how this works.
Well, we're located at 800 Chambers Road, and the inception came, of course, with the media highlighting the fact that poverty-stricken African-American communities were most affected by this pandemic. People were dying. And Ferguson, of course, is a community that's, world-renowned, and it's poverty-stricken. And there were a plethora of, confirmed cases there. Mm-hmm. And so Ella Jones, one of the councilwomen in that district, she and I got together and said, look, we need to get in this fight. And so, again, Adel Imdad, the head of social services of the Islamic Foundation, he's my rock, he's my teacher, he's my go-to guy. And so I pitched it to Adel, and he said, absolutely, I'm in. And so Adel and I, we split up the duties. We said, okay, Malik, you get the nurses, I'll get the doctors, I'll get the porta potty, we'll get the equipment, you get the tent. And actually, my nurse duties didn't turn out so well, but they've expanded it. We're doing fine now. But so Adele, he called Dr. Khan, and he was like, alhamdulillah, all praises God, I'm in. And so within 4 days of inception, so inception to fruition took about 4 days.
That's amazing. And Dr. Khan, I understand you now very regularly volunteering your services from 6 to 9 a.m. Is this then before you go do your regular job?
Right. The first week I was there the whole week. The second week I still can follow up on the test, mm-hmm. but because of patients in the hospital, I go to 2 nursing homes, and I have patients in the clinic. I have not been able to regularly go in the morning, but I am available for advice, and I follow up on the test. The first week, because it was a fear of unknown, it is that we didn't have full staff. We wanted to make sure everything goes appropriate, culture being done. The exposure, we were in our hazmat, and we wanted to keep the social distancing. We wanted to make sure all those guidelines are being addressed. So the first, it was challenging. It was, but it was also rewarding in a sense that you feel good that okay, they are trying to make a difference. And amazingly, we picked that time because most of the COVID testing sites in the area are usually open later on in the day. So we figured anyone that is needing to be tested, because with the, just a few words about COVID-19, it's a virus that causes, fever, cough, shortness of breath. And if a person is, sick, they usually at night, they're up. So I figured at least this way, if patients need to be tested, they may also get some, I may be able to give them some medical advice as well, because from my experience, since this COVID pandemic began, a lot of people the physicians were not able to see the patients in the office. So I felt there was a need for medical advice also for as general precautions.
Okay, well, that's great to hear, and I know you guys have had a lot of people taking advantage of that, and I understand it is free to people who use it. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, if they have insurance and they opt for insurance, otherwise it's free. Islamic Center, the Islamic Foundation is participating as a donor because that's part of Ramadan giving.
Well, it's great to hear, and it's great to see how your faith is translating into good works during this month of Ramadan. So, Dr. Mahrukh Khan, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Malik Sims of the Islamic Foundation of Greater St. Louis, thank you.
And can I add something, please? I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out and highlight the inclusion as far as helping monetarily and in other ways. Faizan Syed and A Continuous Charity. They too came on board and assisted in any way they can. So, and of course, it's a Muslim organization. So, big shout out to you guys.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio. That's 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.